Hi guys, my name's Theo. I'm Paramotor instructor at Flyspain. I'm going to talk you through some pre-flight checks, the mnemonic FuSTICS. Okay guys, so we're going to start with fuel. First thing I like to be sure of is that I have a sufficient amount to have a lengthy flight. There's roughly about 3 litres in here. That will give me about 45 minutes, which is plenty. After I check the fuel, I'm going to follow the fuel line up to the carburetor, which is mounted up here. And I'm going to make sure there's no air bubbles inside, which I'm now going to clear out. So now I can clearly see in here that I have an air bubble. It's probably quite difficult to see on the camera, I appreciate that. But I can see it here, which I need to get out in order for my motor to start up well. So I'm just going to prime that out now. What I do is I push down on the button on the side of the carb that opens the diaphragm, allowing air in. Around the back is a squeeze bulb. I'm just going to give it one nice squeeze until I see nothing but clear fuel going in, which there is now. Right, so now that I've checked the fuel, I'm now going to check safety and security. As you can see, on the side of the harness, we have things like side pockets, loads of straps. If these aren't properly secured, there's a hazard it could find its way into the propeller during flight. So I personally like to lift up the seat board, check underneath that both parts of the harness are connected, look around the back and sides, lift up the connection points. It's all looking nice and flush, nothing can go flying back in. And of course, make sure that zips are done up on the side, and if you have a reserve container, that your reserve pin is fitted and it's not going to fly off during mid-flight. Okay guys, so we're going to check the throttle now. Important to make sure that you have good fluid movement in your throttle trigger. So squeeze on and squeeze off. Squeeze on, squeeze off. Nice, solid movement, no resistance and no clinging on. We then want to make sure that the return spring on the carburetor is doing its job. So you want to get a good visual on that and make sure that that is opening and closing as it should. Okay, once we've checked the throttle, we then have a look at the ignition. So first things first, I like to make sure that the spark plug is not finger tight. It's well and truly fitted, it can't come off. 2-stroke motors vibrate a lot. If it comes off in flight, you'll have an engine out. So that's mounted properly, and then finally I just make sure that the HT lead is sat on nice and firm and there's no risk of it coming off. Stick your helmet on and don't be slack with that drill. Alright, I'm now going to show you the appropriate way that we climb into our motor nice and safely. So make sure your buckles are undone. Lift up the seat board, legs underneath, arms through your shoulder straps. Lean forward onto both hands, one knee up, straight back, and stand up. Nice and simple. You want to make sure all straps are done up. Good to make sure that you wrap the throttle around your forearm. If you don't, there's a long cable floating about and there's a huge risk it could potentially go back through your cage. So nice and safe, wrap over your forearm and then mount into your hand like so. Okay guys, we're on to the final letter of our checks. I'm now going to make sure that there's no one stood around me in the vicinity of the propeller. It's all clear, so I can grab my pull start and yell the final word, clear prop, and start. Cool guys, thanks very much for watching the video. I hope this has been useful for you and helps you with your flying careers. Safe flying.